Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome everyone. Today going to go through a purchase I made off a viewer of the channel. This was sent to me by Jay, who I've done, I want to say 3 deals with now, maybe more than that actually. We'll say at least 3 deals with Jay through the mail at this point, and he sent me this back in late March. Going to run through, this is me opening the package for the first time, which you see, and then I'm going to run through what I offered for each item and why and how I got to the total number. And for those of you not familiar with how selling cards to me through the mail works, basically you're free to send me whatever cards you wish. I'll usually do an email exchange beforehand just to make sure that it's something worth sending. But once you do that, I receive the package and then I go through it and then I'll make an offer on your collection, whatever you've sent me. And you're free to accept that offer or you're free to pass at that offer. And if you choose to pass, I simply mail the cards back to you and I cover the return shipping. If you choose to accept my offer, I'll pay you basically on the spot via PayPal or send you a check, whatever sort of payment method you like. The vast majority of people accept my offer, but a few choose to pass. Maybe 5 to 10% of people choose to pass, and that's actually totally fine. I mean, it's really no harm done to either side. Both of us are just out a few bucks for shipping, no big deal. But okay, Jay shipped me this collection, and like I said, we've done a few deals before, so we actually agreed on some of the pricing up front on some of the more higher dollar items. But first thing is a 1987 Fleer basketball complete set, and this set was really, really sharp, a solid near mint set, maybe even a little bit better near mint plus. You can see Barkley and Larry Bird, and the set I'm holding right here is missing a few of the cards that are graded. Those are going to be included in the padded envelopes. But yeah, a few of the key cards are graded, like the Jordan. There was a Clyde Drexler and etc. And yeah, just a very, very, very sharp set, second year Jordan set. And unfortunately, the set doesn't really have any key rookies in it. It just sort of randomly worked out that way. But it does have the second year Jordan. It had all the stickers, as you can see, Olajuwon Bird, Barkley, Wilkins, Abdul-Jabbar, and others. Again, the Jordan sticker is not in there because it's graded, and we'll get to that in a bit. So that was the first item, an 87 Fleer basketball complete set in, we'll call high grade. Speeding up the video a little bit here so we can keep it moving. Here's a 1989 Fleer basketball complete set. This one's not as exciting of a set. Did have the Jordan sticker. This set was actually missing the base Jordan. That just didn't include it. And that's, again, no real key rookies in this set. I guess Mitch Richmond's in here, but it's not worth a whole lot. The Jordan is the biggest card, and it wasn't included, so not a lot of value in the 89 set, at least compared to the 87. Now, both these sets were extremely sharp, but I didn't personally find there to be any potential grading in these two sets. The key cards had already been graded, and some of the other stars were, maybe borderline to send in, but on the 89 set, you really kind of need 10s for it to make sense to send in, and that's not a gamble I was going to take. And on the 87s, 9s would probably be worth it on most of the cards, and maybe 8s on some of the stars. But the set was high grade, but grading wise, the risk reward just wasn't really there on any of the cards from the sets. Now there was some ultramodern baseball included, and I don't know a whole lot about ultramodern baseball, but I'll buy anything. I mean, if someone sends me cards and there's ultramodern in there, I'll research it and do my best. But I don't pay a very high percentage on ultramodern any sports, because ultramodern tends to drop in value real quick. It's often really tough to move. And, prospects especially just can drop in value basically overnight. So I don't pay very high on it, but, I will buy it if someone sends it in. So like I said, some of the key cards from the 87 set were graded. A big one was Karl Malone. That was a PSA 10. That was really nice. Magic Johnson was a PSA 8. The Johnson sticker was a PSA 8. The Jordan, that's the most valuable card in here, was a PSA 9, and the Jordan sticker was a PSA 7. And I'll go into more details, all those in a little bit when I explain what I paid for the collection. So on top of that, there are also a couple of nice singles. This LeBron James card doesn't look like much, and I didn't even recognize it, but it's actually serial numbered out of just 5. So I'll come back to that one in just a bit. And a few ultramodern basketball cards, nothing super exciting, but some prisms and LaMelo Ball, I don't know, optic, holo, checkerboard, or whatever it is, and some ultramodern baseball as well. And the card on top is actually a prospect I'd never heard of, but Oswaldo Cabrera, first Bowman auto. It's actually worth, got some decent value. And then some sort of low numbered parallels, nothing of real value, sort of like a lot of like dollar card type stuff. That Ohtani I just passed was like a $10 card. And then a nice triple threads Mike Trout. This card's really cool. Serial numbered out of 36. When I say, I'm not a huge fan of ultramodern, the exception is like very, very established stars like Mike Trout or LeBron James. That stuff I can pay stronger on. And here you can see the LeBron serial numbered out of just 5. So when Jay first reached out, he just sent me an email saying, I have these cards, are you interested? And I said, yes, of course. And because we had done a couple deals already, I didn't need to see pictures or anything like that. So he wanted to know up front what I would pay for the Jordan PSA 9, which is, of course, a reasonable thing to want to know. And also on the LeBron's card, serial numbered out of 5. We agreed on a price of $900 for the Jordan 9 up front. At the time, I valued the card at about $1,300, so I was paying about 70% on the Jordan 9. And the LeBron, I told him I wasn't really sure, and I was going to kind of need to look at the condition and do a little research. And he said, don't worry about it. I'll just send it in and let me know what you'll pay then. So I broke this collection up into 7 categories, and I do this with every collection that I buy through the mail. Well, I should say almost every collection that I buy through the mail. Break it up into categories, take a picture of each category, and then give a price, give what I can pay per category, and then sort of add it all up at the end to get the final number. And I've just found that this, helps people understand why I got to the final number, what I'm paying for, how I value the collection, and it makes just people feel more comfortable with the process in general. First category was the 1989 Fleer basketball set. Now remember, this set was missing the Jordan. This isn't a particularly expensive set, even with the Jordan. I sort of valued the set without the Jordan at maybe $40, and so I offered $25 for this. Next category was all the ultra modern stuff, or most of the ultra modern stuff. Most of the cards here are sort of quarter cards or dollar cards or maybe $2 cards. I think the 4 at the bottom were the most valuable. They were a little more maybe in the $10 range in terms of value overall. I don't remember what I valued this entire piece here at, but I offered $55 for all the cards in this picture. Next category is what I called ultra modern top cards, and it's just these 2 cards here. And looking back on this category, I probably underpaid a little bit. The Oswaldo Cabrera at the time was going for about $60. Now, that's not a card I like to, I can pay very strong on, because that's the type of card that is much more likely to just drop in value real quick than to sort of jump in value real quick. So I have to pay a lower percentage on that. But the Mike Trout's a really nice card. And the Trout, there were a bunch of comparable sales of the Trout, around $50. So there's probably about $110 in value here at the time that I bought this. And I offered $60, which again, I think that's a little light looking back. Probably $70 would have been a fair offer, but for whatever reason at the time I offered $60. The second year Jordan PSA 9, this was the most valuable card in the collection by far, but like I said, we agreed on the price before he mailed the box, so offered $900 for this card. That was agreed upon. And again, at the time, this was about a $1,300 card, so that's me paying about 70%. The Karl Malone was category number 5 here. It's a PSA 10. The last sale of a 10 at the time when I bought this was for $285, so I offered $200, which again is about 70%. And I should mention 70% is actually a little higher than I generally pay for graded cards or any items, but these are really, really nice cards. You got a second year Jordan 9, you got a second year Karl Malone 10. These are, very, very easy sell cards. These are multiple three-figure cards. So very, very comfortable paying 70% on these. That's not going to leave me much room for profit when you factor in like seller fees and things like that, but I'm fine with that. But for most graded cards, especially the more modern you get and the lower dollar you get, the percentage I pay has to be, lower than that. And I have a buy list, which I send to every single person up front before they send me a collection in, which outlines, what I buy, what I don't buy, how much I'll pay, what percentages I'll pay for various categories of cards. And that way they can look it over themselves up front and make sure it's worth it for them to send in their collection to me, or not. And also make sure that we're at least loosely on the same page, because I like to really minimize any sort of caught off guard aspect of, expectations not being met. And the 6th category is the 1987 Fleer set. Now I left out the Jordan 9 and the Malone 10 from here, but it did include the other 3 graded cards as part of this category. They're nice grades, 2 8s and a 7, but it's probably not going to impact the value of this lot if you were selling this as a lot that much, because that's basically what the cards conditions are. They're all mainly 7s and 8s. So these 3 cards, it'll add a little bit given that they're graded, but not a whole lot. But anyway, this sort of partial set, we'll call it, or set missing 2 cards here, I thought would sell as a lot for around $400 to $450 or so, and so I offered $275. And the last one is the LeBron James card, again, serial numbered out of 5. This one's a tricky one. I offered $180 for this card, and I'll explain that in a little more detail in just a second. All right, so those are the 7 categories, and this here is the email that I sent to Jay. Outlining everything. I broke it down to the 7 categories. It included pictures of the 7 categories, the ones you just saw there. And the total that I could pay for the entire collection was $1,695. Again, he has the option to accept, in which case I'll PayPal him right away, or I can pay by check or Venmo or other forms of payment. Or he can pass, in which case I'd mail the cards back. Now, I was pretty sure he wasn't going to pass. We had already agreed on the Jordan, which was the most valuable card by far. And we had done, 3 or 4 deals at this point. So pretty confident that we were going to be on the same page. If you notice at the bottom of the email, I made a note about the LeBron. I wrote, as we discussed a little bit, the LeBron is a wild card. If you were to put it in an auction, I could see it going for $100 or $500 or anywhere in between. It is a card worth getting graded, so there's even more risk uncertainty there. If it ends up selling for a lot more than the 300, which is basically what I'm best guess valuing it at, I can reach out to you and kick you some more money then. And the LeBron was the one card in this collection that I did send in to PSA. I had not gotten it back yet at the time of this recording. Jay responded, yeah, that's great. Can you round up to $1,750, which basically adding $55 to the total. And in exchange for that, you don't have to kick me any money on the LeBron in case it grades real high and sells for a lot higher than you anticipated. And I said that was, of course, fine, as that's a very, very reasonable counter offer. So we were good to go at $1,750. He wanted to be paid by PayPal, and I sent it over, and everything was very, very smooth. But that's it. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and thank you, Jay, for letting me showcase your collection here in a video. If anyone has any questions about the process or why I paid what I paid or anything like that, feel free to leave it in the comments. You can also send me an email. My email's in the description below if you would like more information about the process of selling cards to me through the mail. But really appreciate it, and see you all again next time. Thanks, everyone.